Hi guys, it's Mitch here, just coming on to do the Facebook video live reveals for you all. So, if you have been drawn to card 1, you have got the energy of Embrace Spirit. So you have this beautiful big eagle. Now I see two aspects to this card. I think this is embracing spirit that might be freely around you, so the connections that you might be experiencing at this time. But I think this is also embracing and honouring your own spirit. And the two very much go hand in hand. It's very hard to work for spirit or to connect with spirit if we don't know our own spirit. And this is something that I come across a lot in development. So a lot of the time people are coming in and they're wanting to learn, they're wanting to evolve, they're wanting to be able to connect with the spirit world and everything else. But very often the lessons or the things that I identify quite quickly as a mentor is that sometimes they don't have an awareness or an appreciation for their own spirit. And like with anything, how can you give the best of your time, your energy, your magic if you don't know the best of who you are? How can you work with spirit truly until you have embraced your own spirit? So this is a really interesting kind of card to show. So I think this is about connecting, honouring, making peace with who you are. And so many people are reaching out to me at the moment, struggling. People that on the face of it, you would think are really, really powerful, really independent. You wouldn't know that they were necessarily struggling behind the closed doors. So I've, read for some amazing people, but people I hold in real high regard that are just struggling big time. And it's not necessarily because of COVID. There could be a sort of bit of like a domino effect because we're going through that stuff. Maybe it's unearthed or it's brought something else to the surface. But it's really, really important to always embrace your spirit. This is something I think I have found, I wouldn't say it's easier to do, but I think it's something I've been able to access a little bit earlier on in my road compared to other people. And basically, because I went through so much, and I've talked about this a lot in the past, it's in my book, Stranger in This World, but because I was bullied so much as a younger child, and even though I had amazing parents, great teachers, there would have been people that would have supported my calling, but for me I just felt like it was going to make matters, and probably would have made matters 20 times worse. That wasn't the approach I wanted to take, and so I just got on with it. I suffered in silence in some ways, but actually it allowed me the opportunity to connect with who I was, my spirit, and put those kind of connections in place from a young age. Now other people that maybe didn't go through some of that stuff, they were guided in a much more kind of comfortable way, and it's great to be guided, don't get me wrong, but at some point we lose those guides, we lose those people that we were depending on, and then this is sometimes why we have that unfamiliar feeling, because sometimes then we don't know who we are, we haven't embraced our spirit, so we lose our identity. So whereas sometimes when people go through trauma, it actually allows them to appreciate and to understand who they are. Sometimes if we've had a pleasant upbringing or a pleasant time, it actually means that you haven't always been able to tap as deeply into your own power, your own spirit, as you potentially could. It's really weird. So you think it'd be the opposite way around, but sometimes it isn't that, But embrace spirit for what it is, embrace your spirit, because if spirit are wanting to work with you, there'll be signs, there'll be symbols, there'll be synchronicities, there'll be loads of stuff happening. And again, sometimes we get so consumed in the physical world, we overlook what might be happening from a spiritual place. And it's remembering that we're all spirit having a human experience at this time. Rather than us awakening and becoming spiritual, it's remembering we're already spirit in human form. Okay, we've come back here to have a human experience, even though we actually belong to the spirit world. So an interesting card to sort of show up at this time. Now then, if you have been drawn to card 2, we're going into the energy of let the emotions flow. There could be some of you that are holding on to or suppressing tears. There could be some of you that need to speak up or need to communicate. Communication at the moment is huge. So we've got some sort of water, and even though it's not actually coming out of her mouth, it's all around her sort of face, so it's coming from her eyes. It looks like it's pouring from her mouth, all around her. So the communication and the energies to be released both physically, what you might have seen with your eyes, both your physical eyes and your energetic eye, communicating how you feel. And a lot of us are doing that. A lot of us are needing to do that. A lot of us have been holding on to secrets, trauma, just rubbish, suppressions of the past. That might be from like a few years ago, or it might be from way back in the day. But let the emotions flow. It's making peace with everything. It's making peace with your past and knowing that it was just something you experienced. It doesn't have to limitate or block the rest of your life. Okay. But it is important to communicate. It is important to talk about things. It could be that some of you are going through some real grief, some real loss of a loved one, and are struggling to come to terms with that, or to make peace with that, or to, again, communicate how you're really feeling. And if you need to have a day where you have tears, if you need to have a day where you smash a plate around the room or whatever, you know, you can honour those emotions, you can honour those feelings. We're not always meant to feel upbeat and happy all of the time. There has to be an appreciation for the darkness in our life, because through the darkness, that's how we learn, that's how we grow, and that's how we embrace and also respect the light. You know, one cannot exist without the other. So sometimes we have to go through the hardships to really celebrate and embrace and be grateful for when we have, you know, happier times in our life. And it's not always easy. The journey of life is not easy. That's a misconception. You know, whoever told us that life was easy, you know, was lying, because it is hard. But at the same time, you know, we have to take our own accountability for stuff. So the world can be as easygoing or as heavy going as we respond to the energy in question. So sometimes we make a situation more complicated, more overwhelming, more dark than maybe than it needs to be, you know. How we choose to receive energy affects what plays out in the physical world. But let the emotions flow, let the emotions go. Any suppressions, anything that you're struggling with, reach out, connect, touch base with somebody. You know, just don't suffer in silence, because that's not helpful. Okay, it's an interesting card. Now then, as we're going into card 3, it's made me laugh, this card. We're going into respect your boundaries, and we've got this beautiful kind of pink and green dragon here. The reason it made me laugh is, as some of you will have seen in my recent videos, I've been really communicating the changes, the way that I'm doing my work, and having to put new boundaries in place because of things that have happened, because there have been people that have abused or abused my energy, or abused the situation that they've found themselves in around me. So what's important with respect to your boundaries, very often the people that huff and puff, the people that don't want to support the boundaries, are the ones that don't have any in the first place. So if people are offended, if people are insulted or uppity about maybe what you've had to communicate or what you've had to put in place, that in itself is a huge warning sign that, you know, if someone's getting offended, it's because they have a lack of respect, they have a lack of boundaries for you in the first instance. When we communicate something in a place of truth and we know the reasons and the honourings of why, it shouldn't really be an issue, it shouldn't really be a problem. So if somebody makes it to be more than it is a reflection on them rather than yourself, but it's remembering that. So it's remembering that once your boundaries have been communicated, hold on to that as a vision, hold on to that as a place of truth. Don't feel that you need to degrade or give away your power, you know, stand firm within it. So once a boundary is there, don't kind of then change the goalpost or the calling or the ruling to accommodate somebody else's needs. So if you've said you're not doing something in a certain way, that's it, stick to your guns. So that's really what this is about, communicating something and then sticking to your guns, even if it makes you feel a bit uncomfortable or a bit unsure as that boundary is evolving, because there will be an evolving process. But ultimately, by putting this in place, this is your truth, this is your law, this is your principle, and it will allow life to continue on your terms. So you're not doing it to punish or to hurt anybody, you're doing it so that you can continue to live and survive and to be in this world. And that's the most important thing. So I hope you can make sense of these cards. stay safe, stay well, have a fantastic week ahead, and I'll catch up with some of you lovelies very soon. Much love, bye for now.